Welcome, students. I'm going to jump right into things here. We're going to talk about chapter 1.12, which has to do with finding percent change, okay? And so finding how things change. Just kind of review a little bit. When you are finding percent change, like finding the percent of something, like if they ask you, what's 20% of 50? I would go, okay, I'm going to convert my percent into a decimal, 0.20 times 50 would give me 10. So 10 is 20% of 50. Okay, that word of often means times. If they ask you what's 3% of 25, I would move my decimal point 2 places to the left there, and I would go 0.03 times 25, and it'd be 0.75. Okay. Um, so that's kind of how you find a percent of a number. Okay. Now, look at a scenario here. If a company had $62,000 in sales, okay, this is $62,000. I'm going to put a little comma there. Let's see if this works here. But yeah, in sales last year, and expects a 2% increase in sales, what can the executives expect? Okay, how much will they make if they had a 2% increase? Okay, well, I'm going to take this 2% and I'm going to make it 0.02 times 62,000, and I will get this answer right here. I get 1240, okay, 1,240. Now, that's the increase, okay? This is 2% of 62. That's not my answer, though. Um, that's how much 2% of it is, a 2% increase. I have to now add that to the original 62,000 plus that number, and this is my answer. That's what they can expect is $63,240, okay? So that's kind of the way I grew up doing percents and finding a percent of a number. And if they ask you, like if you had a sale that's 20% off, you could find 20% of that number and then subtract it. Um, Another option, though, is to take one, and then that's like 100% of something, right? And but it's 2% more. It's a 2% growth. So if I wrote 1.02, remember that's the same thing I just did. I had this 0.02 down here, okay? Um, if I just multiply 1.02 times the original number, that gets me the answer in one step, okay? Um, and I'll give you another example. If they said you're going to have a 20% cut in sales, if they said you're going to have a 20% cut, okay, so I'm going to think about my concept of 100%. If I had 100 and I'm going to have 20% less than 100%, okay, that would be 80. So if I multiplied 0.80 times my 62,000, if I multiply that times each other, I would have an answer that would be let me just see if I can change this real quick if that makes it better. Nope, it doesn't, sorry. Just trying to make things a little bit bigger for you guys, but let me try this, if that'll help a little bit. All right. So anyway, I guess that's the second way you can find your answer a little bit more quickly is to do 0.80 times the original amount of 62,000, okay? And so, just a second. I am having a little trouble with my video here. Just a second. Okay, hopefully this will work. All right, let me go to the next slide. Um, Now, there's a rule or a formula for finding percent change, in an equation, okay? It's kind of a rule, and you can calculate percent change by using this formula. The final value they give you, whatever the final value is, minus the initial, that's the first value, get that answer and divide it by the initial, the first value. That gives you percent change. You can just write the formula down. Final value minus the initial value equals percent change, okay? So for instance, if I had a sample question, if the population of a town increased from 40,000, okay, this is my initial value right here. I'm starting at 40,000 people to 45 thousand. That's my final value right there. Okay. Then they want to know, what is the percent change? Okay, so I'm going to plug my formula here. Final value. Okay, this is my final value right here. So 45,000 minus, there it is, 45,000 minus the initial value. The first value is 40,000. That gives me 5,000. There's a change of 5,000. What percent is that of the initial? If I take the 5,000 and divide it by my 40,000, that's my initial value here. Okay, it was the 40,000 here. It's what I started with. Okay, that gives me a decimal point. If you punch these two numbers into your calculator, 5,000 divided by 40,000, it'll give you 0.125. Do you remember that when you change a decimal to a percent, you move that decimal point 2 places to the right? So it would be a 12.5% change. Okay, 12.5% change. And this would be your final answer. That is, what was the percent change, okay, that they're asking for? It's 12.5% change. All right, let me give you another example. In this example, we've got sales decreased. I've got the word decreased right off the bat. Okay, it sounds a little different. They got worse. They became smaller. From 80,000 units to 68,000 units, find the percent change. Here's my formula again. Final value minus the initial or start value, answer divided by your initial value. Final value, it's changed from this to this. This is my final value. Okay, this is the one. So that's my first one. That's this thing here, my formula here. This is my final value minus the initial value. Okay, they started with this many, so that's why that's here. Okay, so final minus the initial gives me a minus 12,000. Okay, and then I'm supposed to divide that answer by the initial value. So 12,000 minus 12,000 divided by 80,000. Okay, that's how many I started with. I'm sorry, that's my initial value. Gives me a minus 0.12, which is, if I move the decimal point 2 places, minus 15%. Okay, so that is how you calculate percent change, and it can be positive and it can be negative. That should help you tremendously with your homework.